In the vast arena of human relationships, there lies a complex, often misunderstood, domain, the behavior of women. As observers and participants in these dynamics, we are frequently left baffled, intrigued, or even wounded by what seems to be the inexplicable actions and emotions displayed by the women in our lives. This perplexity, however, is not a sign of weakness or failure. Instead, it invites us to delve deeper into the psychology behind these behaviors and to approach them with the same Stoic principles that guide us through all of life's challenges. The veil of emotion, understanding before judgment. Before we embark on this journey, let us ground ourselves in the wisdom of Epictetus, who once said, "It is not things themselves that disturb men, but their judgments about these things." When confronted with the behavior of others, particularly that of women, we often rush to judgment, allowing our emotions to cloud our perception. We perceive slights where none were intended, or we interpret affection as manipulation. But as Stoics, our task is not to react impulsively, but to seek understanding. To unveil the hidden psychology of women's behavior, we must first strip away our preconceived notions. We must observe without judgment, listen without the intent to respond, and seek to understand the underlying motivations and emotions that drive these behaviors. This requires a level of self-control and emotional fortitude that is central to Stoicism. It demands that we approach each situation with a calm and rational mind, free from the shackles of anger, jealousy, or pride. The power of perception, seeing beyond the surface. In the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, we find a powerful reminder: the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Our perceptions shape our reality. If we approach the behavior of women with suspicion or fear, we will inevitably find reasons to justify these emotions. But if we train ourselves to perceive with clarity and objectivity, we can begin to see beyond the surface. Women's behavior is often a reflection of their own inner struggles and desires, just as our reactions are reflections of ours. The Stoic practice of empathy, putting ourselves in the shoes of others, allows us to bridge the gap between misunderstanding and understanding. When a woman withdraws emotionally, it may be a response to her own fears and insecurities. When she acts out in anger, it may be a manifestation of her inner turmoil. By perceiving these actions through the lens of empathy, we can respond not with frustration or anger, but with patience and compassion. The role of self-control, mastering our own reactions. As Stoics, we understand that we cannot control the actions of others, but we have absolute control over our own reactions. This is the essence of self-control, a virtue that lies at the heart of Stoicism. In the face of challenging behavior, whether it be from a woman or any other person in our lives, our goal is not to change them, but to master our own responses. Seneca, a great Stoic philosopher, reminds us that the greatest remedy for anger is delay. When confronted with behavior that triggers our emotions, the first step is to pause. In that moment of pause, we allow ourselves to regain control, to think clearly, and to choose a response that aligns with our Stoic values. This delay is not a sign of weakness, but of immense strength. It is in these moments that we cultivate the fortitude to rise above our base instincts and respond with wisdom and grace. The illusion of control, accepting what we cannot change. One of the most liberating teachings of Stoicism is the dichotomy of control, as outlined by Epictetus. There are things in life that we can control, and there are things that we cannot. Women's behavior, like that of all people, falls into the latter category. We cannot control how others feel or act, but we can control how we choose to respond. This acceptance is not a form of resignation, but of empowerment. By focusing on what we can control, our thoughts, our actions, our responses, we free ourselves from the frustration and disappointment that comes from trying to change others. We learn to accept people as they are, while maintaining our own integrity and peace of mind. The discipline of desire, wanting what is within reach. In relationships, much of our suffering comes from unfulfilled desires. We want others to act in ways that meet our expectations, to fulfill our needs and desires. But as Stoics, we must discipline our desires to align with what is within our control. Marcus Aurelius teaches us to confine yourself to the present. By focusing on the present moment and accepting reality as it is, we can free ourselves from the pain of unmet expectations. When we desire something that is beyond our control, such as the behavior or feelings of another person, we set ourselves up for disappointment. Instead, we should focus our desires on what we can control: our own behavior, our own thoughts, and our own emotional well-being. By doing so, we not only protect ourselves from unnecessary suffering, but also cultivate a sense of inner peace and contentment. The virtue of fortitude, enduring with strength. Fortitude is the strength to endure adversity with courage and resilience. In the context of relationships, this means having the strength to withstand the challenges and difficulties that inevitably arise. It is the ability to remain calm and composed in the face of conflict, to hold fast to our principles, and to persevere through difficult times. Seneca speaks of fortitude as a form of true strength. Sometimes even to live is an act of courage. In our relationships, we are often tested by the behavior of others, particularly when it seems irrational or hurtful. But as Stoics, we must not shy away from these challenges. Instead, we must embrace them as opportunities to cultivate our own strength and resilience. By enduring with fortitude, we not only maintain our own integrity, but also set an example for others to follow. The art of communication. Speaking with wisdom and restraint. Effective communication is essential in any relationship, yet it is often where we fall short. As Stoics, we are called to speak with wisdom and restraint, to choose our words carefully, and to communicate with the intention of fostering understanding rather than escalating conflict. Epictetus advises us to be silent as to the faults of others and to focus instead on our own actions and behaviors. When we communicate, it should not be to criticize or blame, but to express our thoughts and feelings in a way that is respectful and constructive. This requires self-control, patience, and the ability to listen as much as we speak. In our interactions with women, as in all relationships, we must strive to communicate in a way that builds trust and understanding. This means being honest and direct, but also kind and considerate. It means being willing to listen and to understand the perspective of the other person, even when it differs from our own. By mastering the art of communication, we can navigate even the most challenging relationships with grace and wisdom. The practice of detachment, letting go of what does not serve us. Detachment is a key Stoic practice that involves letting go of our attachment to things that are beyond our control. This includes not only material possessions, but also our attachments to people and relationships. Detachment does not mean indifference or lack of care, but rather a recognition that our happiness and well-being do not depend on external factors. In relationships, detachment allows us to maintain our peace of mind, even when things do not go as we had hoped. It enables us to let go of unhealthy attachments and to move on from relationships that no longer serve us. This is not a sign of coldness or lack of emotion, but of wisdom and self-preservation. Seneca advises us to withdraw into yourself as far as you can. By practicing detachment, we protect ourselves from the emotional turbulence that often accompanies relationships. We learn to find contentment within ourselves, rather than seeking it from others. This inner strength allows us to navigate relationships with a sense of calm and stability, even in the face of uncertainty or loss. The gift of compassion, understanding and forgiving. Compassion is a virtue that is often overlooked in Stoic philosophy, yet it is essential in our relationships with others. Compassion involves understanding the struggles and difficulties of others and responding with kindness and empathy. It is the recognition that, like us, others are also doing their best to navigate the challenges of life. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that whenever you are about to find fault with someone, ask yourself the following question: what fault of mine most nearly resembles the one I am about to criticize? This practice of self-reflection helps us to cultivate compassion and to approach others with a sense of understanding rather than judgment. In our relationships with women, compassion allows us to see beyond the surface of their behavior and to understand the underlying emotions and motivations. It enables us to forgive and to respond with kindness, even when we have been hurt or disappointed. By practicing compassion, we not only strengthen our relationships, but also deepen our own sense of inner peace and contentment. The pursuit of virtue, striving for excellence in all things. At the heart of Stoicism is the pursuit of virtue, the desire to live a life of excellence, guided by wisdom, courage, justice, and self-control. In our relationships, this means striving to be the best version of ourselves, to act with integrity and honor, and to treat others with respect and dignity. The pursuit of virtue is not an easy path, but it is a rewarding one. It requires us to constantly examine our thoughts, actions, and motivations, and to strive for improvement in all areas of our lives. It challenges us to rise above our base instincts and to act in accordance with our highest principles. In our interactions with women, as in all relationships, the pursuit of virtue guides us to act with kindness, honesty, and respect. It encourages us to build relationships based on mutual trust and understanding, rather than manipulation or control. By pursuing virtue in our relationships, we not only elevate ourselves, but also inspire others to do the same. The wisdom of Stoicism, a guide for life. As we conclude this exploration of the hidden psychology of women's behavior, it is clear that the principles of Stoicism offer a powerful framework for understanding and navigating these complex dynamics. By embracing self-control, empathy, fortitude, and wisdom, we can approach our relationships with a sense of calm and clarity, free from the destructive emotions that so often lead to conflict and misunderstanding. The teachings of the Stoic philosophers, Epictetus, Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, provide us with the tools to not only understand the behavior of others, but also to master our own. They remind us that true strength lies not in controlling others, but in controlling ourselves. They teach us that peace of mind is found not in the actions of others, but in our own responses to them. As we continue on our journey of self-discovery and personal growth, let us carry these teachings with us. Let us strive to live each day with wisdom, courage, justice, and self-control. Let us approach our relationships with empathy and compassion, understanding that we are all on this journey together. And let us never forget the words of Marcus Aurelius: you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Final thoughts. The path to inner strength. The journey of Stoicism is not one that leads to an easy or comfortable life. It is a path of discipline, self-reflection, and constant striving for excellence. But it is also a path that leads to true inner strength, to a life of purpose and meaning, and to relationships that are built on a foundation of mutual respect and understanding. As we navigate the complexities of human relationships, let us remember that the behavior of others, particularly that of women, is not something to be feared or controlled, but to be understood and accepted. Let us approach these relationships with the wisdom and strength of the Stoic philosophers, and let us strive to be the best versions of ourselves in all that we do. In the end, the hidden psychology of women's behavior is not a mystery to be solved, but a journey to be embraced. It is an opportunity for growth, for understanding, and for the cultivation of inner strength. And as we walk this path, let us do so with the knowledge that we are not alone, but part of a larger community of individuals who are also striving to live lives of virtue, wisdom, and inner peace. Together, we can overcome the challenges that life presents, and together, we can build a better world, one relationship at a time.